Welcome back, one and all, and thanks so much for coming back on in for another Hambbage Hardcore Vanilla Minecraft session. Um, for those returning after the last sequential video, we're back after a short but more extended break than just a quick rehydration and stretching. Little time to step away and let the eyes relax. I also did find that the laptop was chugging away on a few background processes, so just gave it a chance to calm back down, closed everything out, relaunched, and hopefully we're back in business without any more bumps along the way. So without further ado, let's jump back on in here to our Elcano world and see what it has in store for us this afternoon. In my time, it's just on the brink of evening, and in my little poke in my head outside, saw that we've once again got some flurries easily, gently drifting down amidst the otherwise gray, damp skies that made it not real pleasant to be outside. It's been just long enough. I remember the gist. We were wrapping up some of our farming here, but didn't want to get so sucked in that we made this a complete other farming episode, I think was the gist of our planning. But let's go ahead and use... Oh, man. No, we can do this. We can do this. Let's go ahead and use these, get our water and aerial torches finished. Now as it's coming back to me, and no fancy scripts or production assistance or cue cards or even notes of anything around here. No, you get Hambbage as he is, and I hope you enjoy. Feel free to offer feedback, likes, comments, or recommendations of what I should better be doing with my time. But for now, and probably for a good while to come, I'm pretty content. So now, instead of our dashes up when we're going along the ground, I just want to focus, at least what I'm doing. You may have a better technique. We'll see how poorly I execute here. Just look at the dashes going down, and if you haven't picked up, I think I've elucidated, but you want to keep a count and go up to 8. Then 2 dashes down, 2 back to back, 2 more spaces, and then we're back to 3 in between each torch. You can do whatever you want, however the spacing works for you. I just found along the way that it's a nice balance that lets you have torches right up to the end and spread around without a ton of waste. You want them regular enough because you're up off the ground, so your crops aren't getting full light effect from these as if you had them right there. And that's why we do put some along either the fence post or the paths as we run them out. But yeah, I was just going, oh yeah, I can really start to fly on these, but I think we've all seen the time cost of having to repair mistakes. So now we got that. Let's without further ado just get our water going, and man, oh man, can we do this somewhat? It's one of those that when you get the right rhythm, you got no problem. But when your rhythm is grabbing 2 buckets at a time and then putting them too far out, it slopes things back up a bit. Definitely does. It's kind of nice though, beautiful sunset over the ocean as we work. I imagine it's not too hot. I can't remember if it was this in-game day or the previous one when we started with rain, when we came up out of the caves, and kind of worked our way around, but this is certainly a nice one to just enjoy getting work done in the evening. And there we go. Again, a little bit of endurance and patience appreciated as we go through all this. We got a little while to wait on more stone, and now we really are in a mode where we can cook up a big batch and just do our tidying up eventually. So we had done more torches. We want to re-equip our gear. I'm going to hang on to this because the last thing that I want to do before we I think next up on the agenda is to go for a little bit of a bus tour, a floating bus tour, which in most people's minds would be a boat. Kind of cruise our own landmass and see just how far we go. Do we loop back around and connect up to the one we explored in part in the last episode? Or do we... Oh, now are you down at the bottom? Hi, Slimy. Hey, buddy, come here. Yeah. Don't push me off these stairs. I know you're so big and mean, but your little buddies aren't. So, just in this little space, in addition to all the other bounty of this world, we have slimes. So no more need to coddle our villager traders. What I had come back up for was to revisit our ceiling here. We'd just tweaked the stairs a little bit when we finished up because we wanted to align them better for the furnaces that we placed. And this is the last remaining question really is, do we feel like I don't think that's too close to our head, right? I mean, it's not like we're even on the brink of bonking it, so I think that's okay. It's good to have it out. I didn't want to get sucked in too much to underground mining. We will just pick up some more goodies because I'd like to flip. I mean, I want it all. I would definitely need to cook another stack of stone too, but we've got some iron ore that we've been piling up in our main tool chest next to the crafting table. So that came from our cave explorations, and we're going to empty out all this area anyway, but for now we'll just kind of light it. And you may be saying to yourself, but Hambbage, we just built a whole bank of furnaces. Let's kick those up and cook some iron. Yeah, we should, and we maybe will, but what I'd really like to save those for is once we get into our block coal. As much fun as it seems to be running up and down these stairs, I would, prefer to kind of target our operations. So when our coal gets up to that point, as we had just started to reach in the Susanna Dean world, where we were, we had this full stack and a whole bunch more, and we started combining those into blocks. That's why I made 9, right? And we didn't really get into this, but, say I've got a bunch of coal blocks. If this is the coal, I can just spread it out over here, and, with whatever piles we have, whether it's ore or the coal blocks, boom, 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 boom. Now okay, all my furnaces are going to have the same amount of coal in them, and we'll be good to go. So that's kind of the idea We'll just clean all this up from the example. But I like the 9 to quickly and evenly balance those out. And would look to continue that. We're close on that batch of stone. Let's flop in this iron ore. We'll do those 29 pieces first. Then we'll switch back before we head out to more stone. And see if we can't cook that up. Let's see, our slime can go in here. Yeah, we got enough. Well, we had talked about this in the last world. Believe it's this. Oh, maybe this. Yeah, so leads are cheap enough and easy enough to make. The main factor is getting some slime balls. So this is why we can largely ignore the villager traders. I'll still pop in on that, or when they come around, we'll still open a conversation with them. I'll have a little dialogue and see if they don't have bamboo, because we really would like to get some bamboo. Now, like I said, I think I'd just as soon stockpile a bit. We can do one stack at a time out here. Oh, we should do windows too on our house. Maybe after our adventure, we'll work a little bit more on this facade and raise up the actual building materials above. And if something strikes our fancy for a building material, maybe we'll stop off along the way in the desert and grab a few more, or a few sandstone. Maybe make some smooth sandstone. I don't know. I don't really want to just use the stone block just because we made those. Those are going to be our farm, and we'll go. This is okay, and I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know if I want to just constantly use that theme everywhere. And this is going to be visible out into the distance. The main thing here, of course, is I think we're at a point where we can lift up our roof. Even if we had a Enderman jump in for a visit, that's not the worst thing in the world at this point. He's not just gonna one-shot us if we happen to look the wrong way. But that will open up our windows a little bit more too. So let's just go ahead and get the stone part of this done while I'm largely waiting for that iron to cook. Then when it's done, we can sleep, load up the stone, and get going. But why not? Let's do this. I'm not going to touch the dirt or the stone behind because I don't know how sharply that hill cuts back all the way along this room. So that's why I'm leaving that. I don't want to sidetrack the adventure just for the sake of ceiling and house modification, but I think we have reached a point where we can begin to think a little more about what our living space looks like. We're certainly looking at, hey, look at that, the sun's coming up. We're looking at, just go ahead and sleep now while I still can. Again, that there's not a resting recovery or anything of sleeping in Minecraft. You don't have an energy consumption that's going to wear you out, but the big advantage to sleeping is that you are going to be freed from the development of phantoms over your head, which just that is plenty for me to say, okay, that's a good enough reason. So we have 2. Oh, we got 4 spots. So we're going to go ahead and pop those in and go. Once again, maybe we'll be on pretty similar. We'll split up corn and potatoes between these 2 inner rings, our beets and our wheat, which grow similarly. Again, we saw this beginning in our second world. Those 2 crops are treated similarly by the traders. These two are treated similarly by the traders, and then the melons and the pumpkins are behave. They all, for lack of a better word, they all have categories of behavior for trading, and that's primarily why we want them. So we're getting close here. We will jump back out, but we don't. I could have hoed that more of that field, but I think we're gonna eventually want to work on our paths. We'll have more stone when we come back. We can apply that as bricks. Get at least the ring around the fields complete, and sort of begin our more focused efforts to extend the ends, put up the fences, all that, get wood to make gates and all that kind of stuff. We're getting close to all that, but certainly haven't been there yet. All right, boom, got more wood going. We got up to 30 levels just from our cooking. We're not going to carry that around. We will carry that. Still got good food, and somehow we have an extra pile of torches, which we may come to miss, but without further ado, we need a boat. Without further ado, we're off into the wild yonder again. Now, as we'd said, we kind of discovered that this desert is that point of land, and our new friends over at Haymarket are kind of in this direction off the tip of the peninsula here, and this will, because there's not much to it, it's a desert. I will maybe I don't know, make it a little bit of a, well, I think I know exactly what I'm going to do with this space. I think I'm going to kind of bowl it out into a roughly stadium shape, so that when we're looking for Endermen and when we're a little more beefy for combat, we can pop up here and kind of make that our at-home arena where we've got lots of fun to be had close to home without having to journey very far. And when we get to the point of trying to look for a stronghold, that will come in real handy. Now, right here we've got a nice little pocket of coral. That's kind of cool. I'm just we've got warm ocean, so that's cool. Just a little, almost there's a bigger stretch there. I was like, that's just a cool little pocket of it, but it seems to be much more expansive, and I've several times bemoaned the lack of ability to track tropical fish. But if we ever get to the point where we're trading for and just have an excess of name tags, then we can maybe start gathering up different types of tropical fish and maybe make a little what am I trying to come up with here? A little aquarium of sorts, or not so little, depending on how many grow, or maybe multiple aquariums. I don't know, but I'd definitely like to feature the tropical fish a little more than just as something that pop up every once in a while. Now, you viewers can laugh or correct me. I don't know if we've been to this village. I'm guessing we have, because early on we made it to a couple different ones and didn't find a whole lot that really got us too far going. But is this the same village that we cut to across the desert, or is this a different one? I don't know. We're gonna find out. We'll be embarrassed if there's a bunch of emptied out chests. I think our other village was back that way with the ponds, but this is why we explore. I don't know. Not completely ringing any bells. Not that that means a whole lot. That seems pretty familiar. I don't know. Would we have left wheat? There's a bell. We've kind of gone into grabbing hay mode. I don't want to say that your village looks like every other village I've ever been to, but it kind of looks like every other village I've ever been to. At least their crops are growing, and that again may be an indicator that we had already come and loaded this at one point in the game. Don't know. Started up there. Let's go check these. This is the house type that just turns back and forth and never has a chest. This is the tower. This should answer the question. Any village that's got a tower, I would have gone up to check the box. Is that an answer or not? It wasn't any exceptional treasure, but I kind of think early game I would have taken bread and wheat. Alright, so this is the far edge of town. These two are unlikely to be super amazing. But with the desert villages, you sometimes see chests in a wider variety of places. At least I haven't come to the point where I'm like, oh, yep, that's a nothing house. They, with the sandstone kind of architecture, they all, hey, what's up, kitty? Are you jelly? You may be jelly. Fun Times with Scar, I think is the full name. Scar from Hermitcraft is a long-time content creator, and way back when he, I don't even know how it came about. You know, I think he's long been friend of Minecraft. You know, that kind of preferred status, if I can say that, of one of the in-the-know streamers that, yeah, definitely never dealt with this. That I think way back in the day had the at least visibility of Notch, and cool, could kind of you know, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong or that there was any abuse, but you know, he at least had a recognized relationship with the team at Mojang, that they knew he was, you know, he was a guy, and his content was not going to be offensive or while, you know, he's certainly been open about the game and his preferences and the things that he doesn't, you know, would like to see changed or whatever. He's not going to be somebody that's offensive, right? And he's not going to run off and start saying things that you would cringe if your grandma heard. He's you know, he's seemingly a very good guy, and you know, a fun Minecraft player. Certainly, he's done a lot in his own platform. But so whatever, you know, he was on the short list of, these are people that that Mojang knows that are creating content a while back. You know, this is maybe 5+ years back. I don't know, but he somehow got into the contest to create or provide the inspiration for the next cat build, and this was when they were going from just ocelots to full-on cats. Here's a tropical fish. Why am I not sleeping? So his cat, Jelly, became the model of and was inserted into the game, along with the 10 other cats that are just, like Calico or Ginger or Black Cat, that random cats. And then his was the one actual pet cat that somebody had submitted. So very cool. And I'm not trying to be critical. I think it's awesome that within the community, streamers that have been doing it for a long time and very well are recognized by the company. And I think they're certainly probably not perfect in how they recognize some and don't recognize others. Again, no critique to him, but you're gonna, in any situation, it's not their job to track and know every single voice in the Minecraft community, and you're going to end up with people with hurt feelings of, what does that person get known by them? And, well, some of it's just dumb luck. Others of it is personality. Others of it is you're again, no age offense intended, but, you're a 15-year-old who, you've been playing the game for a few years, but you're just getting started, and you've been streaming for as long as I have, so 2 weeks, and you think that you're entitled to be recognized as a treasured voice in support of a company's product. Well, that's just not the case. They have the right to sit back and go, this person's been on our radar as doing it, and nothing we've seen has told us that he's not conducting himself at a minimum professionally, and then entertaining enough to maintain an audience and all that kind of stuff. So more power to him. And if he was or wasn't friends back in the Notch days or with the team at Microsoft, good for him. He's not a jerk. He's got friends and hasn't pardon the tone, but he hasn't pissed anybody off enough to say, no, you can't come on here. So good on him that, one, he continues to be on some of their promotional videos and work. That's how I've seen him more, as certainly I wasn't watching stream content or anything like that back when cats were introduced into the game around the villages. So I think, it's a mark, and any time that any of those folks get called out for being a favored voice in a product, well, understand that they probably either had a connection all the way along, and so the people in the know at a company, or however you want to classify it, actually knew them and already had a relationship that they trusted them to be a voice that would not embarrass them down the road, or they conducted themselves in such a way that they could do that. So good all around. I guess we're gonna go overland to this little village. See, again, we're just we're kind of probing the coast, seeing how far it goes, whether we're clearly, if we're on an island, it's massive, but what kind of land is just beyond. That the significant part here is we would be better served to go around the other side from our house if we if we want to get to the southwest. Go via water to the southwest. Don't just try to loop your way around. But you do need to know what you're sitting on, and the way that we're currently equipped right now, we're better off to push out in that direction. Lots of bread. Now we're rocking bread. So Scar's cat is in the game, and last I saw of a Scar video, which again was kind of back at the beginning of the pandemic. I was, when all eyes were suddenly back on Minecraft, and people stuck at home of all ages were suddenly deciding that I remember this game. It's one that you can really enjoyably play for a while, and I wonder what people are doing in the video world. So I know the Hermits kicked off a whole new server world as they were, everybody was trying to seize the fresh eyes and increased view counts and all the hype around that kind of stuff with a more or less captive audience. So I had tuned in for a little bit of his video stuff, and again, there's only so many hours of the day. I don't watch content on my phone or anything like that. As I've said a few times, usually when I'm watching, it's when I'm playing. I'm multitasking, or I may be doing something else around, just cooking a meal or cleaning or stuff like that. And you can, kind of have the volume up and not have to just have your eyes glued to the screen to enjoy a good streamer's commentary and interactions with the audience. And so I've done a lot of that, but as time goes by, you definitely start to get saturated. And as I've said, my top 3-4 content producers at the moment, and, at least a couple times a week, I like to either jump in to catch as much as I can of a BAM stream live. More often, I just pull up the VOD, usually through Twitch itself, and just watch it after the fact and see what he's been up to. Viewers may know, his world has reached a point where it's a lot of grindy builds, and he has a established community of viewers, and there's a lot of elements to his stream going on that aren't as tied into Minecraft itself. He's, doing prediction type games with his audience, and using fan points and naming things after long-term subscribers. And when you've been doing this for 10 years or 8, whatever, however long he's been around, that's certainly all pieces of what you can do. So I enjoy it, but I don't need to be there live. I'm not the type of viewer that's going to be sitting and watching for the latest hot take or trying to clip a death. Hey, there's the jellycat again, I think. So he's kind of gray and white, has eyes. I'm going off the descriptions that I've read so many times on my own notes. So he's definitely one of the top, and particularly amongst streamers, he's somebody I look to pretty regularly. As I've said in the past, I enjoy the hardcore vanilla play style, and when I can find streamers or people that are doing the same, I tend to gravitate. You like what you like, and you want to see how other people approach the same game. And really, depending on the mods you're playing, it's all coming out of the Minecraft universe. But with certain mods, or if you're watching somebody play that's farming in materials or duping and that kind of stuff, that becomes a different game. You're not watching what you play and seeing how others address what you do. You're just watching, somebody play a completely different game. When it comes to that, I have a couple of other streamers that I'd be, or YouTube content creators, either way, that I would be remiss if I didn't mention, just because I'm a big fan, and while they have plentiful audiences in their own right, And if you're not aware of them, please go check out Avak, A-A-V-A-K, is a UK producer. I believe, he's Welsh, but I believe he's a long resident of Scotland. And as I've shared in, my own background, I have English roots, and he kind of reminds me of my UK heritage. While well, historically Welsh and English and Scottish are all kind of a little bit at odds. I saw that dandelion, I was like, when have I been here to put a torch down before? Sorry. So I've always enjoyed Avik, particularly found him through Stardew Valley. He's got a number of, I think, did 2 playthroughs early on, and has actually got a current one now with some of the updated content. And spoiler alert for anybody who happens to see this episode, that's a game I'd someday love to record and play. I've had a lot of enjoyment with the game, and found it thanks to another one who I actually just pulled up in YouTube the other day just to see what games he was playing. And again, he's ahead, so he's been playing some ultra hardcore Minecraft recently, and had already launched a world into 1.17, which I'm kind of shying back from. But Paul Soares Jr. was really the someone who got me in from looking for YouTube videos with solutions, which is how I found his tutorial series early on, to kind of now a more variety streamer who features Minecraft among many other games. Somebody I've definitely enjoyed watching over the years, even though I don't watch as exclusively as I once did. And finally, and this is one I don't know that I've mentioned on any of my videos before, but Mental Fox, just to, 2 names as you would say, Mental Fox. He's kind of been my go-to when it comes to what's the game? Fallout 4. Sorry, shouldn't have to struggle that much with that one. I've played it enough, but really enjoy his style and his no holds barred complete playthrough approach, where he'll unapologetically say, this is an open world game and I'm gonna play it, and you're welcome to come along for the ride, but don't expect me to rush through it in 15-20 episodes. We're not gonna abandon it, which I know when you're depending on this kind of a gig for your living, you absolutely have to be aware of what your audience wants, and if you are playing a game that people just aren't into, or you're losing viewers, sometimes you can't afford to just follow your own instinct. Well, if that becomes your deal, that I am going to complete playthroughs at least to my stated goals and stick with them, people will respect you for that. And I think he's gotten to that point where he's got appreciative audience. Hey, that looks like giant spruce over there, but I also saw a boat, and the boat, if I can find it again, is what I was more interested in. Do we see its mast? Boats are kind of funny like that. They're easy to see when you're distant, and then they get tougher and tougher because you're looking down into the water. And is that it? I looked away for the lines of dolphins. Can you show me where that boat is? I think it was still distant enough. Hang on. Wait, is there another one back there? Did we already go over it? I don't think we went over the one I was talking about. That looks like a boat shape. So anyway, Mental Fox. Another that I absolutely recommend. He's he doesn't play Minecraft, which is great. You know, it keeps it fresh, but plays some of the other games that I really enjoy and some of the other play styles. And I really enjoy his play style and his commentary, that he's, you know, kind of the self-deprecating attitude that I take on, you know, not claiming that this is the only way to play, and, you know, if you don't do it the way I do it, you're a noob, or, you know, whatever. None of that stuff is present when you watch him play. He seems to be playing the games for his own enjoyment, and trying to share that as opposed to trying to jam that down your throat. So I really have enjoyed his longer paced playthroughs, and winner. Take that, Mental Fox. Now I gotta remember my air. Quick. Back over to the doorway. Come on, get in there. All right. We got bamboo. Awesome. Now we got one more chest to go here. I think we'll go through the top this time. And again, when you're... Don't do that. When you're working underwater... I didn't really get a full breath of air there, did I? Okay, let's go up. Now, if we do this right, when we take a full breath of air, we should be able to go straight down onto the chest. Boom, boom. Missed. Boom. Go. Woohoo! Alright. So that was awesome. Let's actually get all this kelp. We talked about the kelp blocks a little bit. I can't remember how they ended up being on as fuel. We kind of played around with it a little bit, but what I was going to do is, since we're right here and we have a chest, I'm just going to get rid of some of this extra nonsense that we have. In the hopes that when we find that treasure chest, we'll have even more goodness. Someday, man, we got ocean all around us, and that's more appealing. I guess I could have got rid of the dandelions, lily pads. Okay, so we want to go pretty much straight north, and we're currently facing pretty much straight south. So maybe on that island around it. Yeah, still fairly centered. This is very good. Now, as we go back, I shouldn't forget, I really thought we had another ship that had been further out than the one I saw turning back. There it is. See it? See the masts sticking up there straight ahead now? So we'll see what this one has before we go to our treasure. And again, this is, you know, now it's invisible, but I think we are more or less... What in the heck? There it is. Man, oh man, that is some dark ocean. Holy smokes. Okay. It's kind of out to here. It's a little closer. That is just invisible. Okay. Now, deep, dark, scary ocean. We're going to be real careful about our air. We're going to try to be careful about the daylight. We want to get rid of that. Let's see what we got for... Well, that's not terrible. I would have taken respiration over the aqua affinity, but when you're diving, sometimes you don't get a lot of options. Now this is where we'll have our challenges. We want to be back behind this. Oh, man. So deep. So we're going to go straight down for the doorway. Oh. Find out that there's gravel or sand or some such nonsense. And I don't know that that means it's not. Oh, man. Oh, this is trouble. We'll take our heart of damage. May not even be enough to make us hungry yet. Oh, man, the sun's going down. What do we have for blocks? Absolutely nothing. This is crazy bad times, but here's what we're gonna do. Not exactly the way I would like to waste. Hey. What land is close? It's just in the middle of nowhere. I need a bed. Let's go this way. At least we got giant trees. Oh, by the way, we got giant tree taiga. That's kind of cool. As mentioned in our short-lived Hondo world, we would want that for our podzol. There you can see it's. We can tag it here, I hope. Giant tree. Cool. So, you know, if we were not to get back, that would at least give us a little bit of opportunity. Now let's do a couple things here. Let's just go ahead and make a little landing spot. I don't want to say base. We're gonna basically make a tool bench and a chest and some wood. But I would like to just drop off some of the stuff we've got, and can kind of because we still have that other treasure map to explore, and we would like to kind of consolidate, you know, make a few judgments on what the best options are. So we'll make a double chest. We'll throw a torch here to help us see it if it's nighttime. And then we can at least dump off some of these things that, you know, may not be quite as prized as we go. But if we get more of them and they become priorities to bring back home, well, then we got them. Now, we're going to go back out to our hay bale with its torch. There it is. Even you know, daylight, obviously, it's a little tougher to see the torch, but even the hay bales get a little tougher to see. So now, what I didn't really have a whole lot of time to talk about there is, at least initially, it doesn't look like we may have access down below here to the treasure chest room, or more importantly, the door that means air and life. Well, maybe we do. Let's see. Let's hope. That's a block of quartz. Come on. Be air. Oh, good. Okay. So now that's dirt or something. Look at that. You know, for this particular room, that's actually a pretty burly treasure to have all books, and I think that kind of reflects the max difficulty getting in here. Now, what we will want to do is compare those two maps, just to see what, if anything, they have in common, but we've kind of got a new challenge here of it's always going to be this dark down here. It kind of makes me almost want to go in search of sea pickles just to light up what we're looking at in here. The hope being that we can pop up. Well, did one thing. I guess it didn't help us at all when it comes to getting this chest, but now with practice we know it sits right under here, and if we block this one, we're gonna now go up. Again, don't get greedy on these. You want full breaths of air, and the chest pursuit is always going to be the one that most challenging. Bottle of enchantment, we'll talk about that in a second. Of course, we now get stuff we just stored, and we'll take a little bit of a beating based on that, but we can recover that. When we go back down, let's just take a look here before we go, and for convenience alone, we want to prioritize as we... Oh my goodness, get up. So I think these 4 we can dump, and then we got iron nuggets, iron bars, maybe. I don't know what all we had left down there, but I guess we can bring them all back. Okay, up, 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 up. Random bits, flotsam and jetsam. The floating chest is a little bit... Let's see if we can get it for a piece of gravel. We'll make that trade. Okay, now, which way did we stop to make our chest? Maybe back over here? Man. It all looks so the same. There it is. Oh, hey, here's all the kelp that we ran into before. Okay, so 2 chests, or 2 maps, I mean. Let's see if they're the same first. Yep, same map. And that's, I've talked about that before. I don't know that we've seen the example, but that's certainly pretty common when it comes to ships. If you find a couple ships in the same area, they will very likely be in possession of the same map. So now we've gotten a bunch of random stuff, and we're further unsure just what we need to versus don't need to carry back. I think I'm going to put those 2 in the discard pile, and if I'm putting the iron bars in, the nuggets, we've already got a stack plus of those. You're not prying the bamboo out of my fingers. They're locked on. Same with the emeralds and the lapis. Even the lily pads, I'm pretty eager, and we'll certainly keep 1 copy of the treasured map as I'd shown in the past world. Once we fill that all in, we can frame it, hang it on the wall, and help decorate our living space. So we definitely want to do that. Our food is still good, and the gold, all these. So it becomes a little interesting, what you want to keep and what you don't. And many of these we may grab back, but we want to have enough room that when we go hunting this treasure, and we might as well just cruise along the shore here, I think. Yeah, we can get do so with as few inconveniences as possible. So we want full map. We want to face north. We want to line ourselves up, and, you know, just like the ship, it's not going to just give us every... We've done very well at finding some of the more accessible sunken treasures. You know, the chests have largely been on the ground, as opposed to underwater. Well, then, never mind. That's why we do this. It's not even as deep as I'd feared. So, pretty good shape. And like I said, you know, we may bring back the iron. Well, yeah, if we get more iron, the cooked cod we already have, so we're happy to get more of that. We'll leave the iron sword in case anybody else comes along, and boom, big win. Now, we just have to, we'll probably swing here just to get the last little corner of the map in this direction. There we go. And come on back around this way. I think this island is going to mostly get what we need, but the advantage now is that we've got a pretty full load, and maybe we just go ahead and drop a giant spruce to get a couple stacks. We already have the spruce saplings, clearly, but back at home, you know, we can start our own little grove. We don't have Silk Touch on the shovel yet, so we can't bring back Podzol and grow our own giant spruce trees, but we can get by, and in between, it's nice to have just where's he coming from? Yeah, just have a nice little bit. So grab those. I don't think there was anything in here. No, gravel. We don't need the gravel that we dug up to get to it. Everything else there I want to keep, and at least as things currently stand, I want that and that. And do I want the nuggets? You know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I know it's getting dark. Oh, I didn't even... That's what we'll do in the morning. We're just gonna convert what we can into ingots, carry those back, and then leave the odds and ends. That seems reasonable, doesn't it? Easy peasy. So, duplicate map. We don't need that. Paper, maybe, but, you know, we've already got sugar spreading out in our base. You've seen, you know, once we spend just a part of one episode dedicated to spreading out some sugar, we're going to be in perfect shape there. You know, any of these can still be dropped if needed in a pinch, but unless we have to, we'll kind of just hold what we've got, make our way back home. There's our full map. Now, our little encampment was back across the bay this way. Now what we need to do is kind of regain our bearings here. I think we'll get back out of this bay and then head northwest to eventually find home. Where is that little chest thingy again? I swear I would lose my head if it wasn't attached. So, there? Dumb dandelions. Why am I going back? Did we have things in there other than the trees that I wanted to cut? And if so, why didn't I just cut the trees I was at? Definitely at a loss for how I'm how I'm being pulled in so many directions. I don't know. It would have been nice to re-find it, though. Oh well, we'll just keep plugging along. now that we're going the completely opposite way that we wanted to. I just can't find that little cove where we slept. There it is. Right? Or was this the one that we just went? I think it's about time for us to. That was the same island. Are you kidding me? And then we had popped over here to see the giant trees. Oh my goodness. You know, the F3 is great. You want to be able to see. Why am I leaving the boat? Let's go get the boat. Go to the nearest big tree and then try to get our butts on home. We are too spun around. What I am going to do, though, let's grab our cords. And, of course, I closed all this stuff out when I was resetting. So bear with me just a second here. I know it's not on screen, but we're going to call this spruce. Giant spruce. Man, oh man, I'm glad you guys can't see my horrible typing right at the moment. Camp. And that way we can come on back here and no. 1616. Not 161. That would have been a disaster. Okay, 1616, negative 167. Understanding you guys can't see. So I've saved that. Now, you know, however long it takes us to reacquire our Silk Touch, when we do get it, we'll be able to come back here and know that there's giant trees around, and we want one. More importantly, we want the soil underneath one, or in the near vicinity. We don't have to just take down a tree to get the dirt, but we'll take some of this podzol and can come home and grow our own big trees, so we don't have to come all this way. So that's exciting. That was one of the appealing aspects of Hondo that we lost out on. So good stuff. The other good aspects here, and these if we wanted to, we could grab, but I don't immediately see a need yet, is the Mossy Cobble outcrops. As we go up, we'll probably see some more. We jumped off one just coming over to the water from the island. Back over there. So until the introduction of giant tree taigas, Mossy Cobble was only available in the jungle temples and the spawner floors, so you really had to hunt around for it. As a building object, it became quite praised. Now, I know at some point they introduced that you could use vines, I think, to create Mossy Cobble, but that definitely came later. For a while there, they were, kind of a treasured block, just because of their scarcity, and I do think there's some real value in that. That must be the ship in our little hay thing. It's kind of crazy how well those stick out. Yeah, now that we get up higher, we can kind of pause up. We may even sleep up at the top of this tree. It's always tough to tell when you get under these leaves in these high trees. You don't know. It seems very dark, like it's dusk, but a lot of times that's just the shade, and you are artificially seeing a little less accurately, maybe. So here we go. We're on top of the world. Hey, Ma, I can see my house from here. So this is a big bay that we had come into and kind of got lost spinning around chasing the treasure and filling in the map. That's the boat with the stack of hay bales on top of the mast. You can just barely see the little torch out there depending on where the cursor is. It kind of pops on and off. The treasure was off that island over there. In fact, here, so we kind of line up like that. Now we're looking. You can see where we're standing, and we're alongside kind of the point of maps. Almost looks like Sicily off the boot of Italy a little bit. If you squint and twist your eyes real hard. So we were coming along the coast that way when we saw this boat. We're kind of shooting up in here. I think what we're going to do when we head back out is we're going to head south and loop out there, and then we'll pop back and hopefully head up that way. We can take a look at our coordinates. As we said, when we took our bearings, we were at like 1616, so we've already moved 100 blocks, and we're about 200 or so on the Z. So no, we haven't gone terribly far. We've just been bouncing along the coastline, and that can make it seem like we're going. Now we got plenty of daytime left, so let's go back to our axe. No, let's go back to our bucket of water. Now I want to place myself so that I'm not just gonna tumble. So if you stand about here, this was something I talked about with the fortune enchantment, that you can make stacks of ore, gem ore, and then just kind of work back down. If you stack 4 side by side, you can do this with all 4 filled in and just stand in the middle and spin all the way down. You won't fall until each of the 4 blocks is broken. When you're doing the trees like this, you just, it ensures that you, well, he says the fastest way I've found without artificial means to get up to the top and chop your way back down again, gathering resources as you go. Now we just got to find the dang boat. I swear I make this difficult on myself. I don't mean to. I don't mean to make it painful for you, but look at that. We got 104 spruce just out of that alone. We didn't get any saplings, and we're all full up, so we wouldn't necessarily. We could trade out something, or I guess just by moving our shield we could. But we've already got, what, 20 at home? So, that was our dark. I think we have 4. I hope we have 4. And even before we get to that, we'll just plant and reharvest a few more of these. Now, again, I apologize for the F3 screen, but based on our recent adventures, we're going to try and get back out. Now, as you can see, we're kind of sitting close to 15, so we're about even with home on the Z-axis, and you can see the 1400 numbers dropping. So as we chase this sunset, we're actually on a bearing pretty much headed right back home again, and we're re-seeing things that we've already visited, I believe. Well, maybe did we loop through that village, or had we come around it, and is it on an island? Or is that Haymarket? Maybe that's Haymarket. That could be Haymarket. I don't know. Kind of cool. We shall see. I was kind of wondering as I was standing there knocking down some of that sand. Like, I wonder if I'm going to fall in the little pond here. I'm thinking, I don't remember, I know I jotted down the coordinates of Haymarket, but I'm guessing that we just came incidentally. Clearly, I'm totally not comfortable in my bearings, but I think this is Haymarket. I think we just came back to our buddies. Second time in a row. This was where we parked the boat, and over on the other side of this little island is the flowers on the beach and, you know, all that good stuff. That's pretty cool. So, coming off the little desert peninsula of our base, we have Haymarket, and then, you know, if we just keep going east from Haymarket, we have the giant tree taiga. This is awesome. Man, I love this world. Elcano, you're all right. You know that? I don't care that people say Hondo is the way to go. For you, we'll go all the way back around just to see how big the island is that Haymarket's on. I mean, we could have spawned here, and, you know, we would have felt a little bit... Look at that. They got a nice little... Get unstuck. This just natural harbor that's all secure. Oh, that's a little more wide open on that side. I was going to say it's all secure from storms, but they have sanded it off. They probably got a little, like, you know, fish farm back in there. Oh, Haymarket, you guys rock. Awesome. So, epically cool. And again, you know, even just looking at those coordinates, that probably should have told me, you know, if I'd been looking, thinking, but I was just really going, all right, which way to, you know, how far? Honestly, I thought we'd gone further south than east in our coastline adventure, but we, you know, we confirmed that Haymarket is certainly on an island. What we don't really know for sure yet is whether our landmass is the same one that's straight north of us. You know, if all of this is actually a big inland sea, then yeah, we could, you know, in theory, ride a horse all the way around. Not that we'd want to. There's lots of mountains and, you know, forests and all that kind of stuff, and make it pretty painful, but knowing where we fit in relation to other stuff is pretty cool. There's our coral, so I think we want to, you know, keep angling up this way a little bit. Sea pickles, and now every time I see them, I'm going to be tempted. I'm going to be like, oh man, I should grab those, because if we ever find another deep ship, some sea pickles would be really handy to light it up. They're not worth carrying around just for that. Oh, look, there's a little doggy, too. Hey, doggy. Oh, after all that, I should definitely... So we got some more islands between us and them. Maybe this... Yeah, here's... So we want to make sure we just loop up around this just a bit. And know that Haymarket, when we're going off the point of land to get to it, is actually a little bit more south. Of the desert spit. So maybe, you know, maybe we want to make a boathouse over on the river on the other side of this. That could be our launching to get to Haymarket, as opposed to just doing this extra little boat ride. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that was good adventuring. We you know, we got the boat treasures. The biggest treasure of all, in addition to the friends we made along the way, which I don't know that we were... Oh, we saw some villages, so yeah, Man, I did it again. Dang it all. Biggest treasure. These two pieces of bamboo. When did I get that sand? How long have I been carrying that around going, oh, what room do we have for treasure? where, oh, where is Bamboo Farm going to be? I think, if this maybe turns into some sugar, because, again, I do think, we know we got land out that way. A hay market is off that way some more. Maybe we put our sugar just kind of over off to the side up here. Something. That was kind of the headland. Oh, maybe down in here. This seems kind of cool. And we just carve this out and make it a kind of little bamboo grove. Seem good? Seems good. Let's go. Torch. Shovel. Because what we needed in this episode, we hadn't had any of some dirt digging. Alright, we're home. We don't need that anymore. This will be cool. Having a little patch here to grow up some bamboo. And in a lot of places, I actually will try to put bamboo up high somewhere near my base because it grows so quickly and so tall that it makes a kind of good landmark for when you're trying to find a base. But in reality, it would be something that you wouldn't necessarily put up top of a hill. I think bamboo kind of does what it wants to do anyway. Is my understanding of it is it's a grass. It grows like a weed kind of, and it grows so rapidly that much like clover when I was a kid, once it gets in, it's very tough to get out. And the good news is that it's so useful that that rarely becomes a problem. But yeah, you're not going to dissuade bamboo from growing if it wants to. And I would hope most of us have seen the documentaries or nature type specials that feature animals that like to snack on bamboo, and when they do, those can be high up on mountainsides and whatnot. So yeah, this will definitely work, and I hope you guys will be suitably impressed with how quickly bamboo can spring up. And whoa, if we thought we were long on sugar after not too terribly long, the bamboo can make that seem like nothing. Now, did we use that last chest? We must have thrown it in the other chest while we were out there. I don't have. Well, all things being equal, I guess all things really being equal, we should be taking the seeds over the sand or the dirt. I don't care that much, but we're still a few little spots short on our field. Now, for scientific discovery purposes, what we're hoping is that the stone we left in the furnace is now all cooked, because again, these should be our spawn chunks, and we should be coming home to them with them having continued to go. In addition, we may find that our crops are all good. Certainly, that's a welcome sight. So we'll drop off those. Let's quick get another load and just get it going. And that's a real boon for adventuring. That in the last world, we spent a lot of time coming back and hanging out around the base as we were waiting for our crops to finish. And fingers crossed, but again, I usually don't end up at my spawn chunk, so I'm not as closely familiar with some of these kind of things. Now, enchanting figures in almost like a treasure. Almost here. I don't use it a ton, but once you get a bunch of them, you know, that's instant XP. And I don't remember the total amounts. Anybody's welcome to comment if they'd like, if you know the specifics or have worked with them. But yeah, liquid XP that you can drink and boost up your experience. And as it says, they're called bottles of enchanting because that's really their sole and best purpose is to replenish your experience points as you're grinding out enchants. You're going to use that up very quickly, and it will go. Now, once again, I struggle a little bit with the memory of whether we had seen and left a couple pieces of leather in a village somewhere, or if that was just a different world and I've forgotten it. But the clock makes me want that in our map. Both want item frames. You can carry a clock around. You can kind of, see. I don't think we've really had a clock yet. So let's take a look. If we put it in our hand, or even if we don't, you can look at it, and it actually doesn't look as good in there. Maybe without the shield. Does that hold it up in front of us? No. But it kind of tells you the time, just in a rough sundial kind of way. And so you can see it moves clockwise. And this is sunset. So as that crosses the top of the clock, the sun goes down, and now we're at night, and the sky's dark. And at midnight, you will just see black. All the blue side will be down in the bottom half of the clock and it will be hidden away. And then as it comes up to dawn, the dividing line will rise up again to the top. So cool. It's got the function of letting you know when you're below ground whether or not it's safe to go up. And for me, my favorite application is to get an item frame and hang it on the wall. It will still tell time as it does by spinning. You don't have to carry it around, but for that first one, certainly you put it down somewhere in our mining area, and you can look at it. And when you do, okay, I'm going to go upstairs and I need to sleep, or I need to grab a nap. Excuse me. If you're unsure of what time of day it is, and you've been working for days, or you've been in the Nether for a long time, and you come back and phantoms are likely going, and you're looking for an opportunity, but you don't want to just sit up in your house looking at the sky, you can see when it's nighttime and ready to sleep. Again, totally not essential, because you can always just throw down a bed and repeatedly try to sleep until it says it's nighttime, and you can't. There's lots of ways to skin a cat, so they say, and no more than in Minecraft. But clocks are nice to have, and I like to put them on walls. So once we get some item frames, we'll throw one up on a wall downstairs, so we can tell what time of day it is at a glance, and not have to wonder, or worse, run our stairs again to figure that out. So we are set. We're going to get rid of this. Our stone is still cooking. Let's take a nap. We're going to want as many of the bricks as we can possibly get. So this doesn't, that may be that it's just the slowness and the variety of crops anyway. Again, I'm not as intimately familiar, where we know that hey, I said hey. I hate skeletons when it's daytime and they're out in the wild, and they just, they're kind of coded to maintain a distance, right? The zombies are going to come right at you. Creepers obviously are going to come right at you. Excuse me. Oh, there's those air yawns again. Okay, got a sip, and I hope none of that was too loud. I didn't mute. I just kicked the headset back. So, creepers are going to come in at you. But, you know, when you get out here and you know, hey, look, there's creepers scattered out around my yard, and it seems that the skeletons become predisposed to heading immediately to the creepers, and I have a feeling that the one behind me, yeah, is coming too. I knew it. They take full advantage of their environment or surroundings, and I guess that's. I mean, you know, when you think about it, we come into this world, and they've perhaps been here, man, longer than we have, certainly, or they just pop up every night out of nowhere. But we just start slaughtering. You know, they get one opportunity to kill us in each world. I guess they're entitled to a few opportunities. So let's get some of these that are fully done and keep spreading. Now that we've had a little bit of adventure by continuing to cook the stone, I really, I wanted to come out here to see how much these had grown, and I, compare this to our visits to the villager outpost, and for what was 2 Minecraft days, if that, I think two full Minecraft days in the game, we got some pretty decent growth. So maybe it was going continuously, and I don't know if it runs as optimally or any of that kind of stuff really. I'm interested to learn if people know for sure that this is how that mechanic worked. I'm not so interested that I'm bothering to go to the wiki or advocating that I will. I don't mind playing along. We'll kind of figure it out as we go, but it's something I don't know and worth considering and pondering, that maybe furnaces continue to go, but produce like this only gets... I'm going to rush here because I think it would do it just to spite me. Now these guys have to grow all the way up before they can sprout and dump over, but I saw the game, right? These might take a month of Minecraft time to be ready, but the one at the end that can take over hoed soil, it'll be ready to pop before any of the others. Just kind of the way things work. All right. So what do we think that is? Maybe 24? Well, I guess it won't matter because we're only going to get 16 seeds out of the deal. So I think we can use up all those. And then we'll have 6 left to go. So probably have a little bit of a surplus, but it'll be nice to have all our pumpkins in. Not as nice as it'll be to have a full complement of stone bricks around our fields. And we're getting close there. Let's put away the results of our morning exercise, combat practice. Put one more. We just keep picking away at the accumulation. We want a hoe, and we're going to need extra hoes. So let's go ahead and make up 2 more. Now, the between doing the stone here, which is getting closer, let's get another one ready to drop in there. Between doing that and converting out the fields, or the cobble for stone bricks around the edge, and then eventually getting the fences up. The next priority, of course, is going to be getting these 2 fields ready to go. We want to be able to, pumpkin. God, here it is again. Potatoes are going to be more quickly ready to take over their full field than the carrots are, but not by much. And when they are, we're going to want to split those out. We don't want to, just limp them along to finish up others. So we'll start moving the carrots, kind of from here on, because we're going to have that field ready to go. Now, because we have an odd number there, and it's just easier to do the stack instead of flaying them around. A little tougher when you're talking and trying to host, I find, but now we've got our bricks. So let's first do the remaining edges that we have. Then we can go and hoe the fields without any, I don't think we're going to break and have to revisit the soil, but better safe than sorry. And we can knock this out when we've rung or ringed the fields so that all of those touching are done. We'll lay in the torches. At some point along the way, the wheat is going to be close enough that we'll just go ahead and harvest it, get it growing again, and be in business. Now, I can't remember. Did we get this whole end done? Looks like, oh yeah, we did, because we had those 2 extras, and we said, whatever, we'll just put them in. So here we go, and again, kind of needed the cobble to visualize what we were doing, but pretty quickly decided, I think for this world at least, we're classing it up just a hair. If you think this is our field, and it's a show field, right? Well, this is right outside our door. I thought about, do we split it up and make a path down the middle? But no, we're, right outside our windows. We're going to be able to look out and see these fields. If any company comes, they're going to have to go around it if they come from land to get to our door. And I want this to be a show place. So rather than just ratty old cobblestone, we're going to put, and now I'm totally doing what I said I wasn't going to do. I said I was going to prioritize the paths and getting the torches in, but yeah. That's what happens when you talk and do stuff along the way. So as we discussed maybe a couple episodes ago, this side, I think, is going to be our animal area, and we're going to kind of continue to lower it down towards the water rather than filling it in. I'll do at least 2 wide of dirt up level with the stone, and as we did on the other side, we're going to put in an actual extra piece of a row of stone brick here so that we can put more fence and give a 2 wide path instead of just the one that we had last time. Again, if we're fortunate in that the mechanic of spawn chunks allows for these crops to continue to grow, we'll do less of the running around the fields in a circle just to make sure everything's loaded. But it's a habit, as you're kind of close and ready to harvest and going, you may do a lap, and not catching the little edges that stick out when you put a torch up on the fence. It's kind of, it's just nice to have a little, going through the middle of the field here. We've got these 2 wide, and for variety's sake, and you guys may want to string me up when I do it, but maybe we make. No, I don't know if we can put torches down. Let's Let's do a quick for science out here in the darky distance in the middle. Switch. If I do that, can I then do... Nope. Nope. Fair enough. That's all I needed to know. I was thinking, dirt paths through the fields would make more sense. That would be cool. We could do that as just kind of an alternate. But the whole point of these paths is really to get extra light for the overnight growth. And without being able to place torches, I don't want to do it. So, boo. That path texture is nice as I think it looks, and as much as I think it kind of brings in a stylistic element to the game, or potential to, kind of do more. That change in height drives me absolutely bonkers, and I've dealt with it enough over time that you guys didn't even notice really particularly, I hope, in the gathering of villagers for the Susanna Dean world. We just dodged, I effectively drove the boat around or dropped onto them. But sometimes, in some circumstances, I don't even know what goes into a loom or what you do. I don't think you can do anything with a loom. I know it makes one of the professions, but seriously, why do we want that? Let's do... We're sitting here random. As long as we're sitting here, why don't we do this? What do we have for gold? Not too bad to get 6. I think that's enough to warrant us carrying them around. Now, the trick is going to be, if we're intentionally looking for trouble, I think we want to use the cooked salmon. But if we're working around here, I think until we, really get a little more established, we want to keep using the bread. So, see if we live to regret that. Okay. Cooking, not even close. Let's go to bed. So next up, we've done some stonework. That's so weird that it puts me on top of the bed and then I have to walk back down again. Torches. Well, this is a dual purpose one. I wanted to check and see how much further the weed had gotten, but I also want to, before I go head down and start digging in my fields and all that, it's nice to take a little perimeter lap, because guys like this, excuse me, I didn't even really feel that come on. I hope I kind of silenced it, but there's a little burpy action there and probably right into the mic, so my apologies. It's creepers in particular, and zombies, anything else can certainly do it as well, but just happening to wander up on you while you're working in your fields until we get those fences up can be a real downer, and I'd like to avoid that. So dash 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 boom, dash 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 boom, dash 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 boom, dash 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 boom. 5 dash 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 6 7 8 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. I only had to kind of fake myself there a little bit. I was gonna push through and see if I could do it all the way. I think I probably would, but I double checked right after the 2, and I did check my count to get started. Well, not foolproof. We'll see if we can accelerate that whole process when we do that middle path, but we need just a few more stone bricks until we're really ready to lay those down. But each little bit of extra torch helps. That spreads the growing duration. And, that's a mechanic that, at least in part, as I understand it, was, allowed fairly early on to increase the flexibility to make bases and farms underground and then nether and all the rest, that plants didn't become dependent on sunlight, they just became dependent on light. And as a result, they can grow 24 hours. I mean, hey, that's kind of real plants too, right? They will grow based on the sunlight available to them, and that's why places like Alaska that have very long winters and very short growing seasons still produce incredible amounts, and some very impressive individual plant vegetables, things like that, is that they have such long growing day. The land of the midnight sun and all that, it gets to dusk, but in Arctic latitudes, it actually stays sunny around the clock for the full duration of a day. So, you get, it may not be a growing season of long months, but it will continually pump that solar energy at the plants. And they don't, if they don't freeze and have sufficient moisture, they're just looking for solar energy. They don't care, what the rest of weather is like particularly. They just give me that sun. So let's line up here. Boom. Boom. Forget it. that's how well we do when we try to go smoothly. 3, 1. No, now that something's laggy though. What? It just knew that I was ready to go. Maybe it's that they're, well, I mean, that's not the lag, but maybe the reason why I'm not going quite as quickly is the dashes are on the opposite side of the blocks now. Oh, I totally forgot the dang 2. I got so obsessed with looking at the dumb dashes, I didn't realize we were already done with a row. And then I was like, oh, are we there? Are we going to line up? No, of course we're not. We just totally botched the whole batch. That's not right at all. Try to go on the correct side of the torch. There we go. All right, now we still have to switch out that pathway, but in an opportunity to let our crops continue to grow and our stone continue to cook, let's get this ground tilled, tenderized, hoed, it's farmland, it's prepared, but when you do it without, when you plow, it's tilled soil. Is it equally tilled with a hoe, or is there a different term for the effect of having gone through? When I was a kid, we had a fairly substantial vegetable garden, for a suburban home. It kind of 2 big tiers, and my parents probably, my dad probably knows intimately because I'm sure he laid it all out, but I would guess it was 8 by 32 of flowers and another 8 by 32 of vegetables, and kind of an upper and a lower edge or level of this garden, and it was just out in our yard, but we did, kind of the whole variety of vegetables that you could grow here in the Midwest United States, northwest, northern Midwest of the U.S. So we didn't do corn ever, just because it's so large, and even with what amounted to a pretty large garden, other than the novelty, and as kids, we always want, oh, let's grow corn. Parents would be like, yeah, how about we do this instead? So we had lots of tomatoes, a whole area of green beans on pole beans as opposed to bush beans. We had cucumbers and we'd grow some varieties of lettuce, lots of different zucchini and yellow squashes and things like that. Generally the small kitchen garden type crops. We'd have fresh herbs, more around planters, up by our deck, more right at the house where you could go out and cut some fresh chives from a clump of chives that we maintained, and that, those kind of things. It's just cool to have and have fresh and ready to go. And then my parents would do a lot of canning, or freezing is canning, but canning of the vegetables at the throughout the summer, but particularly as it went into fall, you'd go out and gather up what had grown and stored away. So rarely did we have to buy produce. You would buy for variety, right? The things that you didn't grow, or the things that didn't grow in the area, you'd certainly go to the grocery store and get those, and fruit and all that. But yeah, we'd grow a lot. I know as little kids, we each got a little chunk of the vegetable garden ourselves, and it was a cool opportunity for kids to learn about how things grow. And we were taught to, we could go pick some seeds and plant them. Again, at very firm parental guidance. You'd go in and be like, I want to grow giant pumpkins because I want the great pumpkin to come at Halloween time. And they'd be like, yeah, you don't really understand the space that those need, so no. How about you grow some carrots? Carrots would be good. And put in some marigolds, because kids love marigolds. That kind of, parents know how to play the game, right? And they also know that ultimately, no matter how much you get excited about gardening, they're going to be the ones taking care of it. And you're not going to grow the exact same thing that you're already growing in the garden in a place where it's, well established and you've done the work to get it ready. So there was some give and take, but eventually my little area became raspberries. And we had, I don't know that they lasted. My parents have since moved out of that house a while back now, and it just, it was too much for them, as my sister and I had been out for years, and they didn't need that much space anymore, so they moved out and have another very wonderful home now. But I don't know that the raspberries persisted, and I honestly, I don't know if, gardened raspberry bushes are expected to last more than a few years at a time, or how that exactly works. I know that we certainly had a few years of raspberries that we enjoyed at the house, and it was great to, be able to go out. They kind of got, you had my my gardening days where I got promoted, I think, pretty early in my eyes to weeding. Just go out and help your mom, but weed out the garden. It's like, wait, I thought this was my, no, it's just the garden now. You just go weed the garden, that kind of stuff. But and I don't remember sequentially how all that stuff happened, but I do recall that you had to be particularly cautious with the birds on the raspberries, because they liked them so much. So we had to, kind of net over the whole top. Whereas the rest of the stuff, the birds may come in and snag a few, or Oh, sorry, bumped the mic there accidentally. They may come in and inadvertently snack on a few, but you wouldn't notice that as much as they would just decimate. If you left them untended and had the raspberries to the point where they got ripe, the birds would just come through. And I think we learned the hard way because I was all excited, and my parents were like, "Well, they're not quite ready to ripe yet. You don't want to rush it. You want to give them a chance, do their thing." And the day you think that they're all ready to go and you've been waiting, you go out there and they're just gone. The animals, we think that we're attuned to a lot of that kind of stuff because we've got a vested interest and we're watching for it. Animals, that's their whole evolutionary function, is to feed themselves as they go. And did I replace carrots in here as I was going? I said I wasn't going to do that. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, carrots. We'll put them in here. This, again, maybe just replicating the pattern from last time. It's pretty close if it's not exact, but I think it is inadvertently. I'm not... I know a lot of gamers are very fastidious about, it has to be this way. It just happened. I do, as I've said, I kind of get into this rut of the two vine crops in the middle. They kind of balance things out, and then the others just kind of spring up. But yeah, not intentional to have everything in the exact same spot every time. We'll see, it works. It's someday, and knock on wood, it's not for years to come, but, if we have to do another world at some point, maybe we'll split it so that we have more of a central walkway. I've done bees into the middle of my farm area, and made a kind of flowered central area for the bees, and then done crops on the other side. As far as bees go, that's about as efficient as you can get, so that then they can go any which way they want to pollinate your crops. But well, hello, Mr. Pumpkin. So we need 2 more into seeds. And now pretty quickly we're going to need to get chests going so that we're not just completely drowning in produce. And to that end, let's do a little more digging in the dirt, because as much as I want to get that switched out and converted into the stone bricks, I want to get this end and get ourselves equipped for the chest and the turning around. Really we need the far end so we don't keep falling off the ledge when we're replanting. But priorities being what they are, we'll endure a couple of drops off a one block high ledge just to be able to put some chests down here. Now, I do wonder, we were, last time I think I looked at the time, we were out on our adventure, and we were just about over an hour. I'd hate to lose track, reminiscing about gardening and all that. Definitely fun way to occupy the mind through some of this kind of stuff, and always fun to see your crops popping up as you do. But I'd love to hear, for those of you that do have a garden, even if it's, here, as I've said, I live in an apartment, and I've done a few little just, container gardening things, and I do have a south-facing deck, but I'm on the, kind of the ground floor. It's a little bit elevated, but, there's not an apartment below me, and it's a little accessible, and so I don't have just pots on the ground, right? That they wouldn't be too secure, and they wouldn't get as much light, frankly. I'd have to raise them up so that they could see, whereas people on upper floors just have balusters on their deck railings, and so they get lower light. I have a little wall, kind of on a patio type area, but I've done some hanging cherry tomato plants, and those have been really good. They go bonkers, and I end up with just a ton of cherry tomatoes, and then you can actually just see. I went in and talked to a garden store because they're very prone to drying out. If you do cherry tomatoes, if you're familiar at all growing any kind of tomato, but particularly cherries, they grow in kind of a bushy shape, and they do very well in containers, where you can keep them wet and well watered, not drowning. They like a good wet dry cycle. So you want them to get thirsty and then dry out without wilting and the soil, and then repeat, and that that works pretty darn well for them. Well, in doing that, they will, in a basket, hanging basket, they will kind of grow, rather than as bushes where you would put them in a cage and kind of grow them out. They grow in what become trailing vines that hang down, so you can jam 3 or 4 of the plants into one standard hanging basket size, and then have these kind of colorful cherry tomatoes that spill out of the basket and have tendrils that kind of hang down towards the ground. Beautiful and delicious, right? And, they're wonderful, and for a few months out of I say they kind of eat up all the resources. Well, they do, but they also produce bountifully while they do. And I had 2 of them, and one person, right? There's only so many you can eat, but I love them, and it's kind of a nice way when I think we lose track of the fact that when we live in apartments, there's so many opportunities. You actually are surrounded by people, but a lot of people just go around in a kind of social vacuum. If you're lucky, your closest proximity neighbors by name, just from waving, meeting them when they move in and all that kind of stuff. But there's not a ton of chance for interaction in today's day and age. If it doesn't sound, you kind of keep that distance. We're almost encouraged to do that. That if you aren't, you're really invading the space of others, almost to dare to check in on folks, or not that you're checking up on them. That puts the wrong connotation on it. But how are they doing about in life? What are they up to? Are they having any fun? Have they vacations, any of that kind of stuff? I find it because they're not necessarily your lifelong neighbors, and there's more propensity to turn over neighbors in a apartment setting where rental terms are a year or 2, and a lot of people will, just through the factors of their life, will move on and find other stuff to do. I think we're going to do this the right way this time. Last time I talked about, I can load up 4 chests on each of these, but we'll see. And, I think every time I've ever done this, I've always made 4 chests eventually. And you never end up, except for the seed crops. These 2 may get grown out later because we'll just need places to dump the seeds. But you guys have now had front row seats for the trading. You move through the produce, or you don't harvest it, right? Until we have all the trade books that we need, we get very focused on. Oh, it's perfect. Except I don't have a. I had planned. Oh, if I make a full stack, I'll have loads of extra chests, and we'll have places for the dirt. Not so much on the dirt, but gets all our crop chests ready to go, and can get in the door, can clean up our inventory a little bit. So what were we talking about? Our neighbors. When, just because you're not in theory going to live in the same neighborhood for the next 5-10 years, it's, I think, really rewarding and even cooler to make the effort to say hi and say, hey, you know what, if you're ever just bored or whatever, and definitely in the past year and a half haven't had the same opportunity to do any of this, and it's borderline recommended not to, right? You don't want to just be meeting with all your neighbors in that social scenario when there's a pandemic going on. But as those things settle down, if it's outdoor games or, for me, for some of your neighbors, if you see them and wave to them a few times in a row and you're out on a deck and just a nice evening or whatever, and listen to some music or, maybe cracked a beer, had a glass of wine or something, or even just, an iced tea. Hey, you just getting home from work or something, you want to come in and just grab a seat and say hi. It's so nice, and you get more of an opportunity to meet different people than you would if, say, you live at the end of a cul-de-sac and you got a dozen neighboring families, and a couple of those have just decided from the very start they don't like the look of you, and they don't want anything to do with you. With rentals, hey, if you inadvertently find that you've tried to be friendly to the person that wants to just be crotchety all the time, and you think now they hate you, well, odds are they're going to be gone in less than a year anyway. So wish them well, and consider that you'll win the next time around. But I think that's cool. I've got some really cool neighbors, some that over the years haven't been my favorites, but even those haven't been the worst people. And so now there it was. I was like, where did I end up just putting that dirt? We're filling in. Let's take this opportunity to check the time. 2:02. The instincts are a little slow, but not too terrible. So I haven't done that. We'll do that on stream. Saving the world, getting back out to the welcome screen. Once again, and as always, I want to thank you all very sincerely, and not just as the verbiage that gets thrown up at the end of every episode, but for those of you that have discovered the videos and have tuned in, I hope you've enjoyed them. Won't you please consider leaving a comment, even in excess of the occasional likes that people have been dropping, to let me know if there's anything in particular that you found enjoyable, or anything in particular that you'd like to see that hasn't been included yet, an idea for something to look for on an adventure, or maybe something that, hey, we've done that quite a bit, gardening, let's move on. But at least for one more episode, I think you're going to get just a taste of it as we wrap things up. But I've really enjoyed, our boat adventure. That was cool. And the chance to share a little bit about gardening as I grew up. I've got more of that. We had a whole bunch of varieties and memories of childhood, and foods that were fun, and, what we raised in the yard around our house, or as my UK counterparts would say, in the garden. As I talk about gardening in the garden, that's the actual vegetable beds or flower beds. Those were the garden, and the rest was the yard, or the lawn, that kind of stuff. But anyway, call it what you want. I hope you have some nice weather that you can drop out and enjoy. I think I'll be back for one more round this evening, and then we may call it good for my session today. Hope you've enjoyed, and take care. We'll see you next time. Bye now.